Hello there, and a very warm welcome to this week's Overseas Guides Company's YouTube presentation. Well, I always think it's good to hear about other people's experiences, so I thought today I would introduce you to my son's girlfriend, Gabriela, here, who is actually from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, but who moved with her family to Australia at the age of 7. She remembers it well. Her family settled in Melbourne, where they still live today, and she told me that the reason they moved was because her father was concerned about bringing his children up in a city which could sometimes be quite dangerous and sometimes violent. So he applied for a visa to both Canada and Australia. The Australian one was more straightforward and came first, and so off they went. So welcome, Gabriela.
Hello.
Firstly, I wanted to ask you, can you actually remember how it felt being told that you were moving to a country far away and about which presumably you didn't know very much?
Well, I was only 7 years old, so I was still pretty young, and I didn't know anything about Australia. I never even heard of the country before. So when they told me that, I was first a little bit shocked, thinking, "Oh, we're going somewhere else in Brazil," and I didn't really understand the concept of it. And it wasn't until we were actually moving everything, all our furniture, and starting to pack everything, that I really remember, "Oh wow, we're actually not going to live here. We're not going to stay here." And it was a bit daunting, but with Mum and Dad being there, it was fine.
Well, I was going to ask you next, did your parents involve you from fairly early on in the whole process?
No,
they didn't really.
No.
Did you wish they had, maybe, or
No,
not?
not really, because
you were quite young.
I was too young. I wouldn't have been able to have any sort of input at all. Because of the violence in Rio, Dad never really wanted to. He was adamant that he didn't want to raise us there, so we were moving no matter what.
And when you first moved, did it take you long to integrate, to make friends? I mean, you presumably went to school straight away.
Yeah, I went to primary school. It took a while because I didn't speak a word of English, only Portuguese. And the children were actually quite nasty, as children can be at such a young age. I was the foreign kid, and everyone was sort of sussing me out a little bit. They separated myself from my sister and my brother, which was hard. My sister and my brother got put in the same classes where I was separated, and that was a bit hard, but being so young, I picked up the language
pretty quickly.
Within a year, I was already speaking and understanding.
Yeah, children learn really quickly,
I think, don't
they? And did your parents find it hard to start with? I mean, how long did it take them, do you think, to really feel at home in Australia?
I'd say for my dad's really adaptable. He was pretty happy moving to Australia in the first place anyway. So Dad was very good from the start, whereas Mum was missing her mother and her parents, and finding that to bring us up was really hard. There was nobody to babysit us, so to speak, whenever she had to go and do something. So it was quite hard for my mum, and probably took a little while, about 5 years, before we really got used to it.
And finally, I was going to ask you, what advice, if you have any, would you give to anyone, say, who's contemplating a move overseas for any reason, whether it's a job or just a new life somewhere else? What would you say would be some good advice for anybody, particularly somebody with children, a family?
I'd say definitely sit your children down first and tell them where you're moving to, why you're moving there, where this country is. Get out a map, point to the areas, and definitely point out the positives. I mean, I was totally lost as to why we're moving. I had no idea. But definitely sort of reassure them. At least get them starting to speak that language before you move, just so you know the basics. Thank you, hello, bye, please, all the important words. And definitely, if you've got sisters and brothers, don't separate them. Just keep them all together.
Good advice. Well, thank you very much, Gabriela. I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions for me, or you want any more advice about anything to do with moving overseas, whichever country it is, do let us know. You can either email us here, or you can call our office in London. We'll be really happy to help. There's lots of advice on our website, as you know, and I will speak to you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.